Hey guys, Ben here, welcome back to another video on The Flash Season 9. Today we're going to be breaking down Episode 3 titled Rogues at War. Just finished the episode and I'm sure most of you guys have, and this episode had a crazy ending. We've got to talk about it right away, so if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future DCTV videos later this year. So we're going to get to the Red Death reveal in just a moment, but first things first, we have to go through chronologically to introduce the episode and then we'll get to Red Death. Okay, so it begins with the introduction of Murmur, who is one of the new villains of the week, who is going to be in this new rogues team under the guise of Red Death. And so Murmur is introduced. We also get to see Barry and Iris go on a very kind of romantic baby moon adventure, as they call it, and they have a whole list. Like, they mainly want to do stuff to do with cooking. They also want to like go try food in like 3 different European countries, it says. So obviously they're trying to play out the storyline to do with Barry and Iris and the looming presence of Nora basically going to be coming into this world very, very soon, according to what they've been told. Again, the future is not set in stone, so nothing is confirmed as of right now, but that's what they're doing. They're trying to go around, have these adventures, and tick off some of the bucket list items that they want to do. And so let's move on and talk about Keon and Chester, as they bring plants into Star Labs, which is very true. Star Labs is very barren, like it has no plants at all, so it's kind of nice to see that, but it's also a very cringe scene. This is probably one of my least favorite scenes of the episode, as Allegra goes to try and exit Star Labs, but she is met by Keon and Chester, and she's super awkward around both of them, but especially with Chester, because she's somehow like afraid of him. That's what it seems, and that's what Keon observed. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. It's very curious, and you wonder if Eric Wallace is having like second guesses about actually pursuing this relationship between Chester and Allegra at this point. But then we go over to Iris, and Iris as a reporter is at the crime scene with Barry as a CSI, and obviously Kramer's there, and this was the crime scene that was to do with Murmur, and this is how they find out about Amar/Murmur and the temporal scanner that they just stole, and obviously they killed the person that they stole it from. And so Barry goes on to explain that the device, the temporal scanner, tells you what year you're in. So this is for someone who doesn't know what year they're in. Well, obviously they could know right now, but if they're trying to time travel, they are going to want to know exactly where they are. So that's the reason they're getting the temporal scanner. And so at this point, Barry and Iris realize this is someone who wants to time travel. And Barry even name drops the cosmic treadmill. We have seen it with Godspeed before, and this is obviously a new time that we're going to see it, because someone's trying to create a new version of it. And so the only thing that is missing right now from that machine in order to make a proper, well-functioning, time-traveling cosmic treadmill is what they call a quantum vibration engine. And it's revealed that the dampener is in the DoD and it needs to be shut down from the inside. And there is only one in existence, which is obviously very handy because they're going to all be going after the same one. We get a General Eiling Easter egg here, which is a fun callback to Grodd. And we actually didn't see Grodd in this episode. That was a theory that some people thought would actually play out, that Barry would go to Grodd and Grodd would reject to help them. So I wonder if that scene in the forest is actually going to happen, or is that like a deleted scene. And so from here we actually get the new rogues team that they're going to form. They is Barry and also Pied Piper, so Hartley, and the first person they go to is Jaco/The Hotness, and he is working in CC Jitters. He pretty much just ups and quits his job as soon as he gets the offer, and clearly there is something that he wants in this, and pretty much everyone they go for is wanting something, and we will find that out very, very soon in the episode. And so let's continue with this. So Barry and Hartley goes to Mark for his help, and because of his expertise, obviously he's in a bad standing with Hartley and Barry, mainly due to what Hartley did to the machine, that obviously he wanted to bring Frost back in, and Mark is taking a turn for the worse in this episode as he kind of steps to the villain side. And so after this we get the return of Goldface, and it turns out he's out of prison because he gave up on Amunet, which was just absolutely crazy to hear. This was a very funny scene. And I've said this before many times, I'm not a fan of Goldface as a character, but he is funny, so I enjoy the funny kind of meme-worthy scenes with him. So we have our rogues team, that is Pied Piper, the Hotness, Chillblaine, and finally Goldface. So that's a pretty decent ragtag team that they put together. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't ask anyone else first, but I guess they couldn't really ask any heroes because of the circumstances. Like, they needed actual criminals, people that would be willing to risk their lives in order to get something, and obviously they have experience. And so in terms of the next scene after this is where we get into the Red Death of everything. So stick around, guys, we got a lot of Red Death to talk about here because there's some shocking reveals. And so Red Death and the rogues are listening in on their plans, and they've been bugged. But who have they been bugged by? You don't really think much of it at the time, but later we figure out someone else is working for Red Death and is double crossing the new rogues that are obviously on Barry's side. So the rogues all want the engine, they want their cut, they want money. That's just how they are, and so Barry can't stop the infighting between them, but also Barry doesn't trust them, so they don't trust him, so he's pretty much dumped by the team. And then Iris is really pushing for the reveal of the benefactor, and this is because she wants one big final story before she becomes pregnant, because she feels like she has to do that. And so is this the link between Iris and Red Death is the question that I wrote down at the time, because Iris is the one really pushing for this reveal. But it turns out she isn't the actual person to actually figure out who Red Death is, or in some way, because at this point they're just calling Red Death the benefactor. They have no idea who it is, they just know this person has access to a lot of high-tech Wayne Enterprises style technology, and that's actually revealed by Chester, who tells Iris, and that gives you your Batwoman link. And so that's the first teaser as to who it's actually going to be. And then also we get the reveal of Barry's identity to the rogues, as Barry realizes he has to figure out a way to get their trust. And so the Hotness and Goldface are the ones to figure out that Barry is the Flash. This is like the millionth time that someone's found out that Barry's the Flash. Obviously these are criminals, so you can't really trust them. I mean, really, out of all of the new rogues, only really Goldface is an active criminal. The Hotness isn't, so I guess he's less of a threat. But with Goldface finding out that, you know, the scientist is the Flash, but also Barry Allen, I don't know if that's going to be very good for the future of Barry. But anyway, let's move on. So we have the rogues versus the rogues inside this DOD facility. Barry gets knocked out by Chillblaine, who reveals he's been working for Red Death all this time, so he has betrayed the new rogues and also Team Flash, because he is desperate to get Frost back, and he's made a deal with Red Death apparently to get Frost back. But Red Death doesn't hold up her deal at the end of the episode, because she is clearly all powerful and she has the upper hand on Chillblaine. And so I don't know why Chillblaine turned to the other side. I get that he's desperate, but at the same time, you know who you're kind of dealing with when you make that deal for the first time. I'm very sure about that. But the fight scene in general, we have the different rogues fighting the different rogues. I think the Goldface and Captain Boomerang fight was pretty good, but then the rest weren't very good. Like the Fiddler and the Hotness flirting was kind of cringe. And then also at the same time you had Pied Piper talking in sign language against Murmur, and I kind of appreciated the moment in terms of like him actually knowing sign language, but at the same time it's a little bit ridiculous in the middle of a fight scene that you would stop to sign. So I think that kind of brings down that fight scene specifically. And then also Barry obviously gets knocked out by Chillblaine, as I said, so that's not much of a fight. And so the dampener is back on, Barry can't turn into the Flash. However, the new rogues get outside and are about to make their escape. But somehow Barry gets his speed back and gets out of the dampening range as they get out of the building. So I presume he just like ran normally with the rest of the team, and then he grabbed the rest of the team and brought them to face off against the rogues. And this is what you've been waiting for, because before they're able to properly fight, they are broken up by Red Death, who speeds past them and takes away Barry's speed. And in that instant, you're like, who is this person? Why did they steal Barry's speed, and how did they do that? And as you get that epic Red Death reveal as they walk through this smoke in slow motion, then Barry utters the words, Thorn. And so you have this Red Death reveal as Red Death towers over Barry. Barry gets a proper good glimpse at the Red Death symbol, so he's thinking, okay, this is a bat symbol, so who could it be? Could it be like Thorn under there, but with a bat symbol? So he's like joined with Batwoman or Batman? Well, obviously he doesn't say anything like that. That is just kind of my theory about what's going through Barry's mind at that exact moment. But as we theorized about many times, it seems, and this is what Team Flash and specifically Barry thinks, that Red Death is maybe the negative Speed Force avatar itself, like the new avatar since Thorn went away. Now, this could totally turn out to be true, but I think it's unlikely. I think this person just stole the speed from someone else. That's what happens in the comics. That's how Red Death gets their powers. It's a version of Bruce Wayne that takes the speedster's powers, and I'm pretty sure this is what has gone on. And so Goldface is actually the first person to name drop Red Death, and he is talking about in reference to the Edgar Allan Poe story, which I think is the perfect way to come up with the name. Obviously Cisco's not here anymore, so I think this was a great way to introduce the whole concept of the Red Death name. And also in this scene, Barry reveals that yes, it was the negative Speed Force that Red Death has been using and is using, and it seemingly was able to dampen Barry's speed for just a moment. And that's when Red Death came up to Barry and was like, "Where's your speed now, Flash?" Because Barry's speed was temporarily stolen by Red Death, and I guess gave her a little boost. So it's interesting why she can specifically do that. I guess we'll get some sort of explanation sometime soon. But Red Death is using the negative Speed Force. That has been confirmed. Plus maybe they might be the new conduit or avatar of the negative Speed Force. We'll have to wait and see in regards to that. And so Barry reveals to Team Flash that he saw a symbol on the armor and that it was a bat. And so they instantly think, okay, we've been hearing these reports from like Luke Fox that the tech they're using resembles Wayne tech, but it's way more advanced than anything that they have currently. So you get to wondering, okay, we need to figure out, does this have anything to do with Batwoman at all? And so they go and they contact Luke Fox, well specifically Chester, and then Chester pulls up on the screen a image, and Batwoman went missing last week. So something has gone on. Red Death has shown up, Batwoman has disappeared. Has Red Death replaced Batwoman? Has Red Death killed Batwoman? Or where in the hell is Batwoman? So those are some of the questions that obviously are going through our heads right here. But right after that, as the post-credit scene of the episode, Chillblaine is in Red Death's HQ, and he is begging them to let him take the device, but Red Death doesn't allow it. And so Red Death at this point goes up to Chillblaine to make a point to his face, and he is scared at this moment. He's thinking, why have I done this? I should have stayed with Team Flash because Red Death is scary. And so Red Death pulls off their mask, and you get to see a very different looking Ryan Wilder underneath, aka Batwoman. So what's going on? Batwoman's missing, Ryan Wilder is under the Red Death mask, and that's our official face reveal, because we haven't seen Red Death as of now, and this is official confirmation. Yes, this is Ryan Wilder as Red Death, but what version of the character is the main question right now. Is it multiversal? Is it Batwoman from Reverse Flashpoint's timeline, or is it someone completely different? Well, there is clearly some sort of link between this version of Ryan Wilder and Barry, and there's a reason why they've gone evil. I don't think this is our version of Batwoman. You can kind of differentiate that because of the hair. I don't know if the streak of like blonde / like grey hair is from the speedster that she killed in order to get their powers in the first place. I guess that could be a possibility, but as of right now, it's just definitely a signifier to show that this isn't our version of Ryan. It's like when in season 3 we got the Savitar reveal. It wasn't just Barry under there from the future, it was Pizza Face Barry, and that was just their way of differentiating the two. So this is their way with the different strand of hair, I guess. And so overall, this episode was a good episode. However, I have to say, I do agree with Pagey. He actually tweeted this, that there's been a lot of time wasted on random moments and storylines throughout the season, and Eric Wallace has specifically said that, you know, he hasn't got much time to do the Red Death story, but if you don't have much time, why not take away some of these extra storylines that are just hanging there and kind of pointless at the end of the day? So I kind of agree with that, and I feel like this episode and the previous episode especially could have done with some condensing, because he obviously favors a lot of these funny moments. Even though it's good fun in the moment, the main story is Red Death, and I loved the ending so much because we got lots of Red Death in this episode, and also like there was that one scene midway through the episode. But yeah, I think a lot of time has been wasted, and we could have been focusing more on Red Death this whole time. And you can't really compare this to like what they used to do with Savitar and Zoom and stuff. Like, yes, you don't show them straight away and you do tease them like they're doing with Red Death. The difference is they have a whole season. They have like 20 episodes to get into it. We only have literally 5 episodes total to finish the Red Death storyline. So that's where we're at right now. I would say overall I would rate this episode out of 10, probably about like an 8, because the Red Death stuff definitely tipped over. And yes, there was a lot of stuff that I wasn't so keen on, some cringy moments with Allegra and Chester, and then also just some wasted moments. But overall, solid episode. So tell me, what do you think about this episode? Let me know down in the comments below. Also leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed, it really helps out the channel. Also subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any daily uploads. Remember, we're going to be breaking down The Flash all season long, so you're not going to want to miss out on any of our coverage. But for now, you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video. It's all about episode 4, that is next week's episode. And so I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.
I see red.